What is up, everybody? So yesterday it was announced that Leslie Van Houten, one of Charles Manson's followers, was going to be paroled from prison after 53 years. And it has a lot of people talking, including Sharon Tate's sister. Now this story comes from TMZ.com and is linked in the description below. Sharon Tate's sister is worried that Leslie Van Houten is going to kill again now that she is freed. I definitely understand her worry, but I think it's very unlikely. She's been in jail for 53 years. I'm all for prison reform, but I totally get where Sharon Tate's sister is coming from. Now, to be clear, Leslie Van Houten didn't have anything to do that we know of with the Sharon Tate killings. She was convicted of the La Bianca killings, but still, she was in jail for murder for 53 years. The question I have is, why should Leslie Van Houten, I'm not saying I'm against it, but why should Leslie Van Houten get a second chance at life when the La Biancas, the victims of her crimes, do not get a second chance? They're dead. They were murdered brutally. And now one of the people that were convicted of the crime is now able to get out and live their life. Is Leslie Van Houten going to have an easy life adjusting to the world we live in now after being in prison for 53 years? Absolutely not. But she is getting a second chance of not living behind bars. The La Biancas do not get a second chance at anything. Now, Sharon Tate's sister states that she is likely to kill again after being released from prison. Deborah Tate told TMZ that she is disappointed in the criminal justice system in the state. Now, she was released from prison in California, and especially the governor's office, which she thinks really dropped the ball in not fighting harder against Van Houten's release. The governor of California said he isn't happy with the decision handed down by the Court of Appeals, siding with the parole board of releasing Van Houten. He also said he wasn't going to push back, arguing it was a losing effort. Deborah Tate says the governor could have taken it to a higher court, which is true, and she's taking his surrender as a huge slap in the face to the families of Charles Manson's victims. As far as how those loved ones feel about Van Houten being freed again, well, she tells us, Deborah Tate tells TMZ, they're absolutely terrified. There's a fear she could resort to her killing ways again in a heartbeat. Clearly, Deborah Tate doesn't buy the parole board's belief that Van Houten is rehabilitated. Her rationale boils down to the nature of the crime itself and the mindset Van Houten was once under. She says once somebody goes down that dark path, in her eyes, it's easy to go back. Now, while Van Houten wasn't involved in the Tate murders, remember it was the La Biancas she killed, that Leslie Van Houten has publicly stated in the past she wished she was there. She adds the victims' families are outraged Van Houten gets to live out the rest of her life outside of prison, despite a life sentence they assumed would be imposed forever. Deborah Tate's been leading a charge to keep all the Manson family members locked up with an ongoing online petition she's maintained for a while. I will link that petition in the description below so you can have a look at it yourself. So that's the big news involving Charles Manson. Who would have thought that in 2023, Charles Manson, his cult, his followers would be back in the news? This time, for this particular person, after 53 years, Leslie Van Houten is getting released from prison. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you again soon.